Namaste. We have been on Think Me prior to recording, and we will continue into the recording here with that trajectory. I've
Hmm.
been Adam.
I have been James a time or
Yeah,
two.
this
Great show.
next time we meet, I want to make sure that you have some food. I got a bag of lettuce this big, this
Quit
big.
bragging.
I'm sitting there mowing on the lettuce. It's ridiculous. We haven't talked in about a month.
We had a little vacation times.
In that time, I actually watched one movie. I watched everything, I watched everything everywhere all at once.
How
I
was it?
watched that.
Is this
The
is this like Spotless Mind where it's going to be ruined for me because people are in it?
Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
yeah.
The reason people I think that the reason people are recommending it is that the primary star of the film is the little boy who played Data,
Okay.
and Short Round.
Yeah,
Is that the kid? Yeah.
from Indiana Jones.
His character, it's like that. It's like the same character, but it's an adult guy. But it's still
Okay.
just like, oh, I'm like ready to do this. Everyone, like, let's.
Okay.
He's the same character, but it's a fairly serious role, so it's got like a lot of emotion in it. It's really
Uh,
weird to see that. I think that's why everyone's recommending it though, because I think we were even saying like, I wonder what that guy would be like as an adult, or like if it would still make sense for him to act.
Spotless Mind movie was the actual title.
Eternal Sunshine of the Spotless Mind.
I liked the film, but I did not like that two celebrities, Jim Carrey and the Titanic girl. It was a Kate
Yeah,
Winslet.
that's it. You've got it.
I feel the movie would have been a lot better with two no names in it because
Yeah,
trying to go super ethereal with the thought processes and just kind of taking it from a different view and then having two big name celebrities on it, and that's what ruined it for me, is because I can't disassociate those people with the roles they've done prior. It would have been an excellent movie had they been two no name is a rude thing to say, two unestablished, not superstar actors,
sure.
because then I can separate. There's no, I don't have history with these people from other films, muddying the water of what this movie is trying to say with everything everywhere all at once. Is it Carrie Fisher? Halloween? Halloween?
Oh, Carrie Fisher's Princess Leia. Jamie Lee Curtis.
Yeah. I saw on the thumbnail she's in it, and like, well, that ruined it. Probably an excellent movie, and she probably hands in a performance unlike anyone else. But I can't disassociate our history together on the big screen.
A lot of those pictures that are trying to be more artsy, and you have like
Hmm.
a Hollywood star in the role. It's like it's just kind of
I can't
off.
separate the star from the movie and like forget that this is a comedian or this is like a serious act. I can't forget. You can't make me forget by even putting in an amazing movie that's still Ace Ventura in Spotless Mind.
Or like if you remember Punch Drunk Love with Adam Sandler,
Didn't watch it.
it's a very confusing picture because it's like a serious role, but he's still doing the like, I'm just Adam Sandler, and
Hmm.
yeah, I don't really know what's going on, but I'm gonna try, and but I get really mad sometimes. And that as like a serious role is like a kind of a creepy, scary thing. Like
That's another movie that I've been told is really good, and I'm sure it is. But I don't want to ruin my thought of this movie being really good by watching Big Daddy in a serious role, or Billy Madison.
yeah. Well, everything everywhere all at once. It's kind of neat. It starts out like in the view, like very entrenched in the view of just like, an Asian American family like running a dry cleaning business. It doesn't for like 15 minutes, it just goes through this like life is very stressful. This is kind of how it
Hmm.
is. And like, the kids are acting weird these days. And it's so like plain. And little by little, it starts adding these like magical realism elements where but it takes long enough that you wouldn't even, if you didn't know any better, you wouldn't even see it coming. You would
It's
just assume this whole movie
yeah. To boil a frog, you have to
would
start
be a
in cold
simple
water.
drama. There's a lot of like really good martial arts choreography. And again, it's like funny because it's just like this like little cute Asian American family, and they all of a sudden like, I know Kung Fu. It's that kind of thing.
Hmm.
Um,
Okay.
and the premise is basically they figure out it is parallel dimensions, and they figure out that you can um
Oh.
make it so that you made different choices. And in this reality, that reality where you made different choices become you're aware of them in this reality.
Hmm.
So in another reality, I might have made the decision to become a professional, chef, and I would have studied
Sure.
all that. And then that can download to my brain kung fu or chefery or dance or anything. And also all the angst of a particular life and all the
Hmm.
joy of it seems that the kind of premise that they arrive at is as you accumulate more and more of these alternate dimensional lives into this one, it's kind of like the integration of the self. And so they reach this like kind of peak of like, oh my God, if I was every person that I could possibly be given my genetic pattern, if I was every single one of them, I would be like a perfected being. But
Hmm.
also I'd be it would expose the whole thing, and that might be like a bad thing, like that if you knew everything, it would be this like dark, untenable kind of Cthulhu, that at the base of reality is just a
Right.
mouth.
Yeah.
and
Yeah. If you
battling
know
that
the
out.
outcome of everything, there's no surprise. There's nothing.
And of course it's all a metaphor for family.
Oh, you
Yeah.
guys.
I was a little bit I think I cried one. I think like one single tear. It was like that time I was standing by the side of the road and somebody like threw a pop can out of their car and I just kind of stood there and
Hmm.
just kind of rolled down slowly,
Hmm. I remember that.
expressionless.
It must have been
Yeah. I
1987.
think someone was filmed. I think someone caught that on camera actually with their yeah, I mean, I don't think it was huge. It was like
Yeah, with the crank.
there was like 14 people. When the way our format makes us feel dumb sometimes because we're just like we show up and we answer these questions nice and fresh. And sometimes we don't know things in the moment that we like ultimately do know. I made this like dumb video, like it's like the third video I made on the channel where it's just like Bryan Cranston chasing around flies because he's done that like more than once.
Mm.
And so I made a little like artsy edit of the two together. And so someone had commented like, "Oh, it's a bottle episode of bottle episodes." So a bottle episode is like, you have this ongoing narrative, and this one episode is its own little contained story outside of the narrative. So it's in a
Okay.
bottle.
Okay.
Like in the TV show Lost, they had all this build up and then all this like decay of their original idea. But at the very peak, there was this like one or two episode that just involved these two characters that you've never seen before, you never see again, and they have this like really deep, convoluted like interaction with everyone, but it's only in that episode, and then they die at the end. It's over, nobody knows. That's a bottle episode.
Never seen Lost. Spoiler
So
alert.
truly, on the Unthink Me channel, that it's impossible to spoil Lost.
I always made the joke I'm saving Lost for when I'm bedridden with cancer. But then
Yeah,
it's like,
that's
well, I mean, that's going to happen and there's going to be better things when that happens. So I looked up on the internet,
fair enough. Yeah.
is it still worth watching Lost?
Hmm.
I went down a bunch of like Reddit threads and ultimately the answer is no, it's not as
Yeah.
good because when it came out, there wasn't streaming. So you couldn't
Yeah.
binge it. And what really made Lost's secret sauce, the magic behind it, was the water cooler talk in the week between episodes and getting all these fan theories together. And like AOL chat rooms existed, but there wasn't like streaming media. So it said, I mean, it's a solid show still, but the magic that everyone's like, oh my God, Lost was just like amazing, is gone because you're binging it. Like there's this cliffhanger type plot twist credits. Well, then you just roll in and the plot twist is revealed 20 minutes later. You had to have that week in between to talk to other people who were watching Lost or just come up with your own theories to be surprised and have like the movie magic or show magic happen in the next week where they took you where they Shyamalan'd you. So yeah, I mean, it made sense. I will eventually watch Lost, but it said if you are going to watch it now, find someone else who hasn't watched it and watch it an episode a week
Yeah.
and talk about it. Don't binge it.
And definitely don't talk about it with someone who has watched it. As is custom for me, I don't really like catch things when they're happening because so many things are happening. I kind of wait a minute until it comes out as like 18 people are like, Adam, you got to see this. So
Hmm.
by the
The
time I saw
Australian
Lost,
breakdancing. Yeah,
that
right.
wasn't the context anymore. I think that's a good point. Like Lost is kind of like the last show where like water cooler
Well,
element
yeah,
was a
like
thing.
cliffhangers for a week at a time really made the show.
But I did binge it. I like because
Oh,
it was so much later. So I was
Right.
able to like watch entire seasons. And what I would say is just that it's a lot of time wasted. There's a lot of just action and drama that doesn't really contribute to the higher narrative that's so interesting to me. Like, there's just a lot of drama and just pretty visual stuff, and they keep doing the same stuff over and over again. Like the things
Do
that
you
are intellectually intriguing are very intellectually intriguing, but it's hours and hours to kind of come to that.
do you think it's because they're trying to mislead you that something else might happen? That's why they're like, look over here, and then
Yeah,
wait a
well,
week.
and just to keep it universally appealing, it has to have, like punching and kicking and
Love
blood
story,
and
drama,
boobs and yeah, it just
explosions.
it has everything. And one of the things it has, it's this really intellectual, like kind of meta structure to it. And that's what I get out of it. So there's a lot of, oh, I'm mad at you. Oh, that hurt. I'm mad too now. It's like, okay, that's cool. I know what happens if they don't put the code into the console. It doesn't.
So I watched a movie this week called Tarot. It's a horror film about some kids. I say kids, they're in college that read one of them reads their tarot cards off of this cursed deck, and then all their readings come true.
Do
I would
you
say
learn
this is
anything
probably
about tarot?
no. I would say this is
Um,
probably purple on the spectrum because it's very magic and mysticism. And then reading the cards is really biased depending on who's reading them. There are some
hmm
rules. This isn't
hmm
Vietnam. There are rules. Certain cards can mean opposite. If it's upside down, it could mean something
hmm
opposite. If it's right side up, it could mean something positive or negative. So it's really up to the narrator of the reading what
hmm
everything means. So if you were to put the cards out already, and I know they're going to argue that like, well, you have to pull the cards. That's part of the magic. Okay. For science, we have the same cards laid out however it's going to be. And then bring a different tarot reader who is paid to read tarot in. You're going to have as many completely different stories as you have readers. I mean, it was a good movie. It wasn't something to write home about. It was entertaining the entire time.
Well, here's an
Magic.
interesting counterpoint to that. If you
Let's go.
took the same person with the same symptoms to 8 different psychologists, would they all give the same diagnosis and would they all kind of have the same overall impression
I would
using
say
science?
so. Let's say we did 100 psychologists and 100 tarot readers. I
Yeah.
would say you would have, and this is all just me bullshitting. I'd say you'd probably have 70% overlap with the trained therapists, where you
hmm
might have 20 or 30% with the tarot readers, because psychology, although it is deduction and kind of up to the psychologist what they decide, there is still some schooling behind it. There is still there's some fact. There are some tested things. And so, well, this person's bipolar. And then the next one, like, it sounds like they might be borderline bipolar. And, then on the other extreme, this person's just schizophrenic. And then the other one, like, there's nothing wrong with this person. With tarot, there's a lot more feeling to it. I have witnessed. This is my
I think,
opinion. I don't say this is fact in any way.
yeah,
I've never said
yeah,
I'm
of
right.
course.
Tarot, if the person who's reading the cards is in a bad mood, you're going to have a shitty fucking reading. The person who's
I
reading the
think that's
card
true of
is like
psychologists as well.
fresh in love. I think there's some, I mean, there's schooling.
So this is it. Yeah, that's the difference is that if you had pedigreed
Mm,
tarot readers that you went to an office, you had to receive a license,
hmm
then the 10 of cups would always mean the same thing.
Or
Vaguely,
something,
and there's wiggle room.
yes, it
Just
would
like
be down the
ADHD
same
or
road. Right.
ADHD always means the same thing with some wiggle room, with some interpretation. I think you
hmm
say the same thing about like the world or the fool. I'm certainly not trying to elevate tarot. I'm trying to de-elevate traditional psychology
Yeah, I
to
don't, to your point. Yeah, I'm not trying to shit on tarot. If that's your thing, God bless. We had my wife and I had a good gut laugh. Danielle and I had a good gut laugh at one point in the movie. Somebody says something arbitrary, and the main characters, you can see the wheels turning in their head, and it's like that. Oh yeah, moment that's super hammy and kitsch in 1980s film style. Like that just didn't fit. And there's a lot of foreshadowing from the very beginning to the end about the death card. Death could mean
The end of
the
the
end of
movie.
something,
End of the
or it could
movie.
mean the beginning of something, or it could
Yeah.
just mean death. And they say that those three sentences no less than five times throughout the movie. And then the oh yeah is remembering what they said like five times.
The way I understand the things like that are there aren't like good and bad cards. It's like
Mm-mm.
knives
Yeah.
or like holes in the ground. They're good or bad depending on the context. The
Is
death of
it
your troubles, the death of your
Yeah. Is it
current.
reading at night? Are you reading during the day? Is this a male, female, a they? Like everything changes everything. To your point in psychology, you had to at least regurgitate something preset to pass a test and get your license. Whether you believe it or not, you had to regurgitate it to pass the class.
And also, very similarly to psychology, is like you don't just come in to a tarot or a psychologist saying like, "Figure me out. What's my deal?" You come in with the problem, and
I did try that.
you're wrong about what the problem is. That's the whole point. So you come in there and say, I need help with this or that. It's the same thing with astrology and psychology. And that's weird to me. Like it's
Hmm.
just because you can't really just look at someone and say, oh, I see you. You need some Adderall. Like maybe you can. I don't know, but they don't seem to. They come. You tell them what the problem is.
My
Uh,
therapist sessions started with I actually have a pretty good life and I'm pretty happy with everything, but maybe mentally I could be more clean or more happy that way. And the first 3 to 5 sessions, I'm terrible with numbers, was them digging into like, you're right. You are pretty happy in general and you are living a fine life. I have to find something. Otherwise, you don't need me. I feel like this therapist was thrown off guard because they're coming in like, oh, I can't find a significant other, or I
mhm.
just seem to always be shit on at work. Tarot. I want to know fill in the blank. I want to know,
Yeah.
my dad passed away last year. I just want to make sure he's in a good place. They
Hmm.
feed you what they want
Yeah.
to hear back. And
You're
so you can
here
kind of
because you want something. Yes.
take my money.
Yeah, this is the boundary, right? Clinical psychology, positive psychology. In today's world, there are these weirdos like you and I that don't really have a big enough problem that we get thrown in there, that nobody tells us we have to go and do that or we don't
Right.
get into trouble. We're just like, I could be better off psychologically than I am, of course. So let's go and have a professional help me with that. In positive psychology, it's this is a problem. You can't really just go to the same people that deal with clinical
Hmm.
problems. They're so accustomed to that, and they expect you to come in with a serious problem that they can pretty easily get their thumb
Easily or
under.
not easily, there's like a path they can go down. There's a clear path. And I mean, you and I'm not fat. You're not fat. I'm not
I
skinny.
eat McDonald's
You
and
are
never shit.
skinny.
Yeah,
But that doesn't mean we couldn't be more healthy.
I could be a lot more healthy.
Oh
Yeah,
God, honey.
I
If I
was
saw if
already
I
a
saw a
healthy woman.
treadmill once a month, I'm like 2 cheeseburgers away from being
Did I
Fat
come out here
Albert.
trying to tell me I got to put on a bag? I
I
was
was already.
already.